Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
The Ballad of Buster Scruggs is a wacko little Western anthology, with each chapter being centered around a lot of death.
What's my sentence?
The movie's done by legendary writer-director duo Joel and Ethan Coen. And as good as this movie is, I think it's just a little bit overrated. As cool and fun as it is, it's pretty low on the list of cool and fun Coen Brothers movies. For those who are Coen Brothers fans, it's better than Lady Killers, but it's not quite as good as Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? There's this bank teller in the second chapter who's just about one of the best characters in the whole movie.
Crazy business.
Played by Stephen Root. But everything else about that second chapter is really kind of weak. And probably the weakest thing about the whole movie is the very end of the last chapter. It's just kind of a weak, impotent little note to end things on. I think it's the themes that don't land very well in this chapter. It just felt sort of inauthentic, and the meanings get kind of mixed and weird. The chapter that I have the most mixed feelings about is Meal Ticket. It's a really cool idea for a little conceptual piece. There's a lot of parallels to the film industry and to being an artist, Art gets exploited for money and the artists themselves get the short end of the stick. It's really deep and kind of dark and cool as a concept. But if you're just watching this chapter moment to moment, it's just kind of flat. If you don't know, the Coen brothers are both in their 60s now, both approaching the traditional retirement age. So it's no surprise that they'd want to reflect on their careers this way. On the bright side, I really loved the first chapter, especially all of those silly little songs. That was awesome. I loved The Girl Who Got Rattled, that really long one. I know a lot of people are iffy about that one, but I really like the slow pace of that one. I felt like the movie needed to slow down a little bit over there. And I really love Old Gold Canyon. That might just be the best one. It's Tom Waits' performance. I love Tom Waits' performance. I like all of the silliness and all of the weird conversations that people have. It just doesn't compare to the other Coen brothers' silliness. They've done it better before. And again, the themes. As close as they are to being really nicely unified themes about death and this really melancholic take on the meaninglessness of life and all of its pursuits, they just don't quite tie together. And I think it all really comes down to that ending. Something like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is better in almost every respect. Maybe it's unfair to keep measuring their movies up against all of their other movies. Okay, on its own, there's a lot to love about this movie. I know I've made a lot of negative criticisms, but I really do like this movie. It's really fun to watch for something so negative and melancholic. It's definitely worth watching once, but maybe not worth watching twice.